All right. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for a little minor delay. We just want to make sure we had everything, all of our ducks in a row, and everything ready to go. First of all, I want to say welcome to season 2, episode 11 of the Table Talk podcast. We are officially live. We are in the building today. 4 out of the 5 guests are here. We're going to be waiting on Sadiq. Basically, we just got done doing a celebration right now because people were here and we were worried. We were worried who was not going to be on time and who was. So we over here, we're hype about the situation right now. But in all seriousness, like I said, welcome to season 2, episode 11 of the Table Talk podcast. We have a great show for you guys lined up for today. We're looking forward to this conversation, very important conversation. And it's about the brotherhood that we had growing up in Hamtramck. So we're going to kind of dive into that. Before we talk about the topics and stuff like that, I do want to give a shout out, first of all, to the people that are here in the building today with me. The co-hosts of these shows, my sisters, were not here. They're actually enjoying themselves a nice little break on vacation, so they deserve that as well. But in the building, we're still going to have a full house. To the right of me, we got the man Big Goob in the building today, representing Ukraine/Eastern European right here in the building. Want to give a round of applause to my man Goob. Hamtramck. We got legends in Hamtramck right here in the building today, man. I just want to let y'all know. And then to the left of me, we got Bassam Gobah. Everybody knows Bassam BG Gobah, owner of Hamtramck and Hammer Time True Value Hardware, graduate of Hamtramck High School. All graduates of Hamtramck High School, by the way, that are going to be in the building today. So shout out to BG. BG, what year did you graduate, BG?
Class of 2000.
With A-Rock?
Yes, sir.
All right, class of 2000s in the building. That's why, I'm happy Sadiq is going to be here because he's a 2010 grad, too. So we had to get somebody. Sorry, Goob, you on your own right now, but it's all right. We all won, right? We all won.
Good.
And then next to my man, BG, you got my man, Aaron Brock. My barber's Aaron Brock, and he's solid like A-Rock. You know what I'm saying? You already know what's up. Shout out to my man, Aaron Brock. Looking clean, too, on the show right now, man. Looking fresh. Shout out to my man, Aaron Brock. Like he said, graduated out of 2000. We want to, have a diverse panel. We got, a Ukrainian person. We got and by the way, Goob got a bunch of different backgrounds.
Oh, yeah, I got a few. Ukrainian, Russian, Lebanese, Polish, just a nice little mix.
Yeah, so, you got...
You Hamtramck all in one.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, I am.
There you go.
Mr. Hamtramck.
Mr. Hamtramck.
In the fight, you want Goob on your side.
Oh,
For sure. For sure. That's why I'm trying to keep a good relationship. Dog.
Hey,
Got
these
him on
hands
the side.
diverse, too.
All right, we got a Yemeni American, we got an African American, and then you got Sadiq, who is a Bangladeshi American, going to be here as well. Just to show you guys, to give you guys an idea. Like, I'm not going to lie to y'all, man, I can't wait for this show because we're going to dive into a lot of things, man. And it was not always pretty. Might start off with the bad, but, we're going to let y'all know that, like, it shaped us into who we are today, straight up. And I'm glad to finally have this opportunity because I feel like we, just in general, I don't think we have done Hamtramck justice for all the great things that it has done for us. And I feel like, sometimes it gets a bad rep out there for people that don't know nothing about the city. So this is a great opportunity for us to show people that, this is just a small portion of the things that a lot of people got out of that city. So before I do that, I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors for the Table Talk podcast. You got BC Adhesives, the Balkan House, the Gobah House, and Hanley International Academy. Other sponsors of our show, Hammer Time True Value Hardware. Again, shout out to BG and Unique Coney Island as well. But we're going to start off with the Gobah House, Yusuf. So whenever you're ready, can we run that Gobah House ad? Because we're enjoying ourselves, a nice little Gobah House as well. So shout out to the Gobah House. And we're going to go ahead and run that ad, Yusuf. The Gobah House. The Gobah House is the first coffee shop of its kind. The Gobah House is a family business established in 2017 for the sole purpose of providing the best quality Yemeni coffee with no added preservatives, artificial additives, or flavors. You can stop by Gobah House to try their famous Yemeni latte, Adani Shahi, Mafawad, and Jubani coffees. You can also stop by to try their delicious pastries, such as the Yemeni favorite sabaya, their sembusas, and their new menu item, Everything Mini Bites. There are currently 4 Gobah House locations, with 2 of them coming soon as well to make it a total of 6. Their 4 locations is West Dearborn, East Dearborn, Williamsburg, New York, Lombard, Illinois, with 2 new locations coming in Canton, Michigan, and Petersburg, New Jersey. So no matter where you're at in the country, be sure to stop by a Gobah House and get a glimpse of what the Yemeni culture is all about. All right. So now, with that said, we're ready to get the show on the road now. First of all, shout out to my man Billy. He said my favorite podcast, BG and Company looking fresh. And then he said Goob is a legend because he has some Lebanese in him. So he just want to make sure he threw that out there.
Salam alaikum.
Yeah. So with that said, I kind of gave you guys a minor introduction. Maybe y'all want to just tell people a little bit about yourselves, what y'all do. And, you know, even if this might not be your first time actually being on a show that we've produced, just in general, just want to introduce yourselves right quick. So, Daniel, I'm going to start off with you. I'm going to go right to left. So, Big Goob, you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so, sorry. Yeah, I'm Daniel Gubin. I grew up in Hamtramck for about 23 years until I moved out. Graduate of Hamtramck class of 2014. You know, I'm a multi-sport athlete. You know, went on to college, played college football. And now, you know, I'm trying to get more involved with the community, with the Life brand. So, you know, if you guys, I appreciate the support that I have gotten so far. And for the new viewers that, you know, I collect from, you know, the OZ podcast and what's going on now, you know, I'd definitely be appreciative of it. But, you know.
For sure, for sure. Shout out to my man Goob, man. You want to give him a round of applause because this live, I know he's going to dive into it about what it is about, I'm sure, because we're going to have some questions dealing with that. But Goob, man, he's one of the faces of Hamtramck, man. Real talk. You see him at the basketball games. You see him at community events doing things. So shout out to my man Gubin. To the left of me is Bassam Gobah. You know, we've had him on a couple of Fantasy Guys shows by now. But, you know, BG, you want to maybe tell people what you did, maybe in high school, too, sports you played and stuff like that, BG?
Yeah, high school I played football and baseball. I've been in Hamtramck for about 35 years, or
Nice.
you know, Hamtramck, Detroit area.
Yeah.
Grew up there. I've left for a few years, but there's no place like home, so I always found myself back there. But you know, it's a beautiful city, and we'll dive into that later on.
For sure. And then my man Aaron Brock, Randy's Barbershop. I know y'all see it right next door to my brother's pharmacy, Infinity Drugs Pharmacy right there. So right across the street from Little Caesars as well. Aaron Brock, what's going on? Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, man?
Aaron Brock, owner of Randy's Barbershop. We're 10 years in right now. Went ahead and played football, basketball, and track, high school. From Hamtramck, from elementary all the way up to high school. And I love Hamtramck.
There you go. I love Hamtramck. Those are some of the Facebook groups over there, by the way. I love Hamtramck.
That's right.
All right. So with that said, yeah, Sadiq, you can just hop right in. You ain't got to worry about it, man. You ain't got to worry about it. So you right there. Sadiq is also in the building. We're going to let him get comfortable right quick. And then whenever he's ready, you want something to drink, by the way, Sadiq? Coffee?
I brought my little gear.
Okay.
I just wanted to make one statement, though. You know, I had to. It's not fashionably late. I just had to be, you know, just late for my boys because Bengalis are known to be late. I wanted to make sure.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, we got to start. You want to bring that mic, by the way, close to your mouth. Yeah, make sure you can twist it. You could, you know, you can move it. You can do anything that you want. Yeah, bring it closer. It all
There you
works
go,
out. Yep. There you go.
That was music to Aaron's ears.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
He
So-
betted that I was going to be the late one.
For sure, for sure. Well, we got Sadiq in the building. We're introducing ourselves. Sadiq, a great friend of mine, you know, since really elementary school days. We knew each other since Dickinson these days, but graduated 2010 as well. Both of us are grads from Hamtramck High School 2010. Sadiq, you want to tell a little bit, tell people about what you do and stuff like that right now?
So I'm actually in a medical field. I'm a mobile X-ray tech.
Okay.
So I do a lot of traveling and whatnot. I never thought I'd do this, you know, especially growing up in Hamtramck. You know, just everything, the environment. We're thinking that, okay, we got so many goals. We're going to do this, do that, take care of family. And then it always ends up being somehow like you're doing something that you never thought of.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. You
Yep.
know, I enjoy it, though. That's the biggest thing. I actually would sign up for it. Now, you know, of course, you know, blindly, because didn't think of what this field could, you know, hold. And, you know, I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I thought I would back then, you know.
For sure.
So,
For sure. All right. Well, Sadiq, by the way, while in high school, what's the sports that you played?
you know, me and Omar, we had this little rival, not, I wouldn't say rivalry, but I seen a lot of competitiveness
Yeah.
from Omar, so I wanted to always compete against Omar. So we made this thing back in high school, Bengalis versus Yemenis.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Omar were like, all right, you get your team, I'll get my Bengalis, and we'll go to James Field or we'll go to I forget where the stadium is at.
Keyworth.
Keyworth.
Yeah.
And we just go ahead. We took a few beatings, took a few L's, but it was really fun. But besides football, man, basketball is probably my first love.
For sure.
And still play to this day. Got to.
Yeah, for sure. Got to keep active and stuff like that. So he kind of got us already started about growing up in Hamtramck. Aaron, Brock, you want to tell people, like, how was it like for you growing up in Hamtramck, and all that other good stuff, So what was it like for you, man?
Life for me was community. With us, African Americans in Hamtramck, we had really three sides. We had Project, Southside, Ducktown, and we can walk either way, It was a lot of family growing up in Hamtramck. Even in my high school years, we had sports players, like we were family, when they had you want to say race wars or whatnot, for the most part, Arabs, Albanians, you know what I'm saying? When we was to fight, like, it was us, real family, like, real community, like, in Hamtramck. And like I said, it's nothing like Hamtramck, man, being from such a diverse city to where never knew how much it played a part of my life, to where even when I went up to Grand Rapids to play ball, and some of these cats out there, like, from the city or different places, Ohio, all that, and like they never really interacted with
Whatever it is.
yeah, whatever it is, yeah. And so they were kind of stuck in their ways. And for me, I could talk to anybody, whether it be a student, a teacher, kind of being able to go ahead and fit in, having that diverse background. It was a role in my life. It played a big role in my life.
For sure. How about you, BG? How was it like for you growing up in Hamtramck, man?
I mean, just to piggyback off what Aaron said, growing up with people from different nationalities and different places of the world, it taught you. Once we got to college, that's where like he said, I realized it also when I got there. Talking to anybody was easy for me, wherever they were from, and and I seen other people struggle with that because they probably came from an area where there was only one type of people there, and that's what they've been used to their whole life. But in Hamtramck, I have friends, Aaron, one of them, that since elementary or middle school, that I can see him today, and it's like nothing's ever changed. I got Bosnian friends, Albanian friends, friends from all over the world, and that that just teaches you that we're more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
No matter where you come from.
Yeah, it's funny because you'll be somewhere and you got an Albanian or Bosnian or what. I'm like, man, that white boy. I be like, man, you look at his head like, man, he Polish, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, look, he ain't gonna like to be called a white boy, man.
For sure.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah, I hear someone's last name and I was like, oh, you're Polish?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you know that? Or you're
For sure.
Albanian, chipped out, and they like, throw them off a little bit. Wherever I go, it could be, anywhere in the U.S.
I agree.
It's just...
That's exactly like I was a story that I was going to share too. But the quick thing I want to say is, man, I feel like we take it for granted growing up in Hamtramck, man, because I don't think people really realize it until they leave the city. And a lot of people kind of like stay in that bubble. And so they don't really understand that the opportunity that they have to live in Hamtramck, like, I'm not even trying to overreact. Like, you tell me one place in the country, and then you could almost, like, tell me one place in the world where you can have a Ukrainian, Bengali, African-American, and Yemeni-American person. Like, if I was, like, living in another state, I would have weeks to have to book this kind of event.
Yeah.
Just because to get everybody in this same room. Whereas this is something we probably could have put together yesterday. We could have said, hey, I could have sent that message yesterday out, and I probably would have got you guys down to come on the show. And to me, man, we take that for granted, man.
I don't know if it's for granted, but maybe at a younger age, we didn't know exactly what we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize it until we got older, and like, you know, and then we see the value of it. And you know, when I was younger, I thought every place was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until we got older and realized, like, yo, we were different. You know.
That kind of plays into the fact of like kids growing up with that innocence of not knowing what's right and wrong in the world. So when you grow up in a place like Hamtramck, all the outside noise of the racism that goes on, we kind of don't even deal with it,
Yeah.
you know, because of how tightly knit we are and what we've grown up with. I'm as comfortable with you guys as I am with my own family.
Yeah.
And that's
Same.
definitely a big time blessing, you know, growing up in Hamtramck. You know, I played basketball with you. I got my hair cut by you. I played softball with you guys. So, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely treat you guys like family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you ever needed me, I got your back. So, you know, growing up in Hamtramck, we definitely do have that tightly knit group of different races that a lot of people don't get to experience. And I feel like that's, you know, we definitely got to open up the world to that, but we got to figure out how. So
Yeah,
that's
for
what I'm
sure.
doing.
No, I like that, man. And so I love what everybody's saying. And like I said, I wanted to let people know like how we kind of grew up. But I do want to mention moments where, you know, things weren't perfect, because I want people to know that like they weren't perfect, but just like every family, you know, what doesn't kill us, I guess, make us stronger. And there were definitely some heated moments. So maybe, you know, if y'all want to share a story that you may have witnessed or anything like that, and you know, just like, because growing up in Hamtramck, there were definitely, I want to call them maybe race wars, but fights that happened between two different races. You know, it could have been Albanian and you know, Arabs, or Arabs and African Americans, or, you know, I think towards our senior year, for some reason, it was Bengalis and Bosnians. There was that. I remember there was a huge fight at Jane
Entire
Field.
high school.
Yeah,
Freshman
like-
year to senior year, it was bad.
Yeah, so it was definitely moments like that where, you know, again, I mean, I just want people to know the stories. Like, there's a couple of stories just so people can know, like, it wasn't easy, but that's the kind of stuff to me that builds a community, because, you know, it's not gonna happen just like that, and that's why Hamtramck is unique. That's why we feel like we're tight knit, is because we've had those moments, and then we grew from those moments, and we realized like, yo, you know, now it's time for us to make sure those moments don't happen again. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, anybody want to start us off with like a moment? I mean, I could just straight up say this. Like, in high school, there were definitely some intense fights. I remember going to high school. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, we had a cage in Hamtramck High School. Y'all remember that cage? All right, there's a cage that you could pull out. Do you remember that cage right now, or you know what I'm talking about, or no? No, it's actually on the main floor. It's still there. If you ever pull it out,
Oh, I got you. Right
yeah,
there,
you know what I'm talking about?
Just to close it off, it's like
Yeah.
a divider. Mhm.
So it's a divider, and I remember when I was in 8th grade. I wasn't in high school yet, but my brother was telling me that there was like an intense fight between Arabs and African Americans, and that cage was pulled out, and you know, they couldn't, because it was getting so wild that there was a couple people that were stuck in that cage, and they just let them just battle out until like they were tired, and just because it was so wild that they had to slow it down. You know, those are the kind of stuff that kind of happened. You know, like I was told you, like my senior year, I remember went to Jane Field. It was a wild fight that time. Like,
Literally looked like a war.
yeah, it looked like it was a war
It
going on
wasn't
there.
10 on 10, 20 on 20. It looked like
Dude,
150, 200
I was
on
going-
each side.
And you know what was the craziest thing is that, like, it happened for, like, you know, a fight to happen for like 10, 15 minutes is a long time.
It's a long time.
And nobody pulled up. Like, no police officer, and like traffic was stopped, and it was just, I was like, what
One
the
prop
heck
I
is
could
going
say
on?
back then, you know, even through all those fights, we rarely had somebody pull a gun. Everybody had a baseball bat, a golf club, a
Yeah.
crowbar. You know, no guns or nothing, but people were showing up with weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were going to war.
For sure,
You know.
for sure. Anybody want to share anything?
The fights have been going on for a long time. I mean, I remember it being in elementary school, middle school. They were always fighting at the high school, you know, and it's gone for every race, you know, whether the Arabs, the Albanians, and then it'll be the Arabs and the African Americans. It'll be the African Americans and the Albanians. And it was just going around and
Non-stop.
switching. I mean, it wasn't, the way I looked at it is, you know, thinking back on it, it wasn't we're fighting each other. It'll be, you know, one dummy or two dummies that got an issue,
And then everybody.
and then everybody else, you know, you feel like you got to be loyal to your people,
Yeah.
and they drag, you know, everybody else in, and it always started with one or two idiots, and it's the same thing, probably still going on till today, but what kind of helped it not get too big, I think, is the friendships that we had. For instance, me and Aaron were good friends, and if the Arabs and the African Americans are gonna fight, we're not fighting each other. We'll probably be there trying to break it up. And there was always, those relationships somewhere where, that helped out for it to not maybe lead to guns or this, or, we tell them, yo, go ahead and fight one-on-one, let them handle it, things like that. So
One thing to add to it, some of the fights that would start would happen because of the most idiotic things or smallest. It starts as a seed and then it
Somebody
grows.
might threw something during lunch.
Most common thing was one of the younger cats in middle school or something. One of them little kids gets jumped, right?
Yeah.
He could be a Yemeni or he could be a Bengali or he could be any kind of race. Next thing you know, their older brothers, their cousins, their other friends, other boys, they're coming deep. Now they have, a lot of heat under them, a lot of issues, this and that, and they're going out looking for who did this and that, and that's how all the mayhem starts. One little guy gets jumped or something, and everybody, And the thing is, growing up, I guess you're comfortable if you have a big family, if you have a support system, somebody go and tell your problems to. I felt like I had that, I don't have that many family members or this and that, but I had a lot of friends, a lot of mutual friends, a lot of other people that I can go to. And I know Omar growing up, he owned the Ham High. He had all his cousins. Every sophomore, he had a cruise. The juniors, he had some older cousins, older brothers, and it's something I could relate to because I was the same way. And if somebody were to do something with me, I knew that other people would escalate it. And for them not to escalate it, I would just, okay, is this worth it? Is it not? So there is a little thing where you have to think it through,
For sure.
But that's what that's your people around you though. If you don't have anybody level headed, it's like everybody on the same tip.
Yep.
When we was in high school, man, it was bad for us with the Albanians. We didn't got shot at and everything. They was using guns, man. they was on that tip, man.
they were. There's a couple
in
times they'll bring guns to school or outside.
Yeah, it was bad. We had like an all out like hallway brawl. It was bad. Like they had went ahead and me and Hurt went to the store, get and go, and two Albanians walked in. One pulled out a pipe. The other one, we in the store, we fighting. I messed around and hit my hand on the shelf. We get out the store, we go back around, my hand bleeding, stitches still, and everybody oh man, we got jumped. Everybody go ahead and go around to the store. Didn't find the other Albanian, but one Albanian, he came around, had a pit bull. You go into school, man, and like everybody's just hot now, all out brawl. Like you had to go ahead and like lock the school down, everything, to where I go ahead and I come back to school like the next day or whatnot, get my hand stitched up. I get stories like, man, you had a pit bull bite you. Pit bull bit me, man. You know what I'm saying? But it was all kind of stories going on, but it lasted for a while, man. It like I say, us and Albanians, like we were always at it. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you think like kind of stopped it?
Just
time.
Yeah, just
People
time.
just realizing like, yo, what are we doing?
Because you look at it now. You get out of high school, and I go ahead and see one of the cats, and we're like, "What's up?" That don't matter.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying. You don't got older. And we don't even know what we were fighting for.
Yeah.
For nothing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, if you want to fight, well, I got to defend myself. Like you said, you got a couple hot heads that go at you, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Then that becomes a group when he not even in it, don't care nothing about it, but these is friends. So I'm with y'all.
Yep. That's just guilty by association,
That's
I guess. That's what it was. And I like what you guys said about the sports part too, man, because the sports did play a very strong, at least for my life too, man. Like I would try not to catch myself in a situation because, obviously I'm Yemeni, it's obvious, right? But when we played sports, majority of my team, especially like football, was a lot of African Americans, and we're gonna get into like, moments where like, you impacted you and kind of changed your life. So I looked at it like I had to be one of those level-headed people. Whenever the situation was a heated situation, someone had to be that person, and every single situation I would try to be that person, trying to stop the fights, not trying to start something. And I know Gubin, I know you had to be in a very similar role too, being an athlete and stuff like that. So you want to share?
Yeah, I do. So obviously, growing up, I grew up in a big family, and so I was the oldest brother. So I looked after my younger brothers, and if anyone knows my family, my brothers they're hotheads. So I always had to be like, hey, chill out, we don't got to get into that. Because one thing about fights is one thing leads to another, and you never know what somebody's going through in that moment. You could win a fight, and they could feel some type of way about it. They could go get a gun, they could get a weapon, they could really hurt you beyond the fight. So sometimes having that pride will get you killed. So, I always have to look at it from the perspective of life. Like, hey, man, if you got a problem with somebody, don't just let it be, because you never know what somebody's going through. So I always try to preach to people, just let things be, let things calm down. Don't even stress about it. If you have to handle it one-on-one, just handle it one-on-one and shake hands and go about your business. Don't try to mock anybody or post it on Facebook, So I definitely had to be level-headed for, my brothers, but also just anyone looking up to me because, I like to tend to be a good role model, and everything doesn't always have to resort to fighting. So,
For sure.
Was it always like that for you, Goog?
I mean, I done got into my fights too, but
I you gotta ask, Goog, my guy. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But like I only asked that question, when you're young, you have a sense of pride, always. You know what I'm saying? But as you mature, then you get a lot of that. Like, man, that's not even worth it. You can go ahead and he can call you a name and be like, that ain't even me. So, I'm secure within myself, and I know it can actually go somewhere else, as you said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. No, that's a great point. That's a great point, Iraq. So I know we kind of shared what it's like, and what it was, and kind of shared a couple stories. But what is it like now, man? I know y'all see the Facebooks, y'all see the stuff, but I don't think that fully tells us the full story about what it's like now. But I want to hear your opinions. I don't know if everybody stays there, but I know everybody's still affiliated there, rather they somehow, some way through work or something. So. What is it like now in Hamtramck? Like, how do you feel the atmosphere is like right now in Hamtramck? BG, I don't think we started with you yet, man, BG. So what are your thoughts right now, man? Like, do you think the city is where it should be in terms of how they handle, being, I guess, diverse and culturally aware of what's going on?
I don't think it's as diverse as it used to be when we were growing up. Right now it's probably 70%, Arabs and Bengalis. And then you got 30% split up, all your other ethnicities. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just people picked up and moved, and that's the way it is. But I think there's a lot we could do, we can be better at kind of working together as a community for the youth and for, whether it's sports or, after school activities or anything. Just I feel like that's missing. And that might be on us, our generation, not taking the initiative and doing it. Like, growing up, we always said, nobody did anything for us, or nobody had, the little leagues or the basketball camps, or, what are we doing for the younger crowd? We got to ask ourselves that right now. So,
For sure. Aaron, you want to jump in on that too, man? What are your thoughts, like where the city of Hamtramck is at right now?
I don't think it's nothing like it was coming up. I mean, even you know, you see all these vacant stores in Hamtramck, you know, just being able to go out, shop, everybody intermingling with each other. But now it's you have so many different stores. Now everything is kind of isolated to where you have a bunch of Bangladesh markets, a bunch of Yemeni markets. You know, everybody is kind of to their own right now. You know, you have your set, uh, whatever ethnicity you are. You know what I'm saying. You shop with them. Um, on the younger generation, and they don't even interact like that anymore. You know, like I guess me and BG, like we were good, man. You know, coming up high school, we could chill, we can kind of do anything. I don't see these kids interacting with each other like that.
He learned how to cut hair using my head.
Yeah, dude. Thanks, BG. We appreciate you, man. That sacrifice helped out a lot of people, bro.
Good sacrifice.
Yeah, for sure, man. Sadiq, what do you think, man? How do you feel about the state of Hamtramck right now, man?
I it's a long thing. Well, I'll start off with saying this. I moved out of Hamtramck year after high school, or year after I graduated high school. So, you know, from elementary till 12th grade, you know, I've seen what's there and everything. You know, I lived it. You know, there's a lot of lessons that I learned afterwards. I mean, when I go back, even now, I feel like things are good. You know, things are looking good. The city of Hamtramck. I mean, if you look at real estate, these houses are going for over 200K. You know, that side is good. Now, school, they've done a lot of different things. What they added on. I'm not hearing that many gang fights, not many gang violence. They might be getting spoiled from my perspective.
Yeah.
It just looks better now. You know, I don't hear those crazy stories. You know, I hear every now and then somebody robbery, but that's everywhere. You know, late night, whatnot. But overall, I you know, it's been pretty good. I haven't heard much bad news or anything. Most of the kids been, you know, everybody's updated.
I mean, when it comes to safety, I think the city is probably the safest it's been in a long time.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna
so-
say. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you know, you see people walking at night, you know, people going about their business, you know, there you don't hear about robberies like
Yeah.
or stores.
Not as much. I call it the Upper East Side, man.
okay,
The Upper East Side.
I mean, it's changed. It's changed, you know, in different aspects. You know, some stuff has changed for the best, and some stuff's changed, I think, for the worse.
Like
But,
one thing on you guys all know Al Haramain, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's a you know great store, it's selling and everything. But I remember before Al Haramain, it used to be
Gango.
get and go.
yep, and then also I think a laundromat. And one of the reasons I remember because when I was to go inside, there used to be these games you can play while you're waiting and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
it's-
I remember that changing and everything. Now Al Haramain is open till 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah.
People are still shopping. People are
Dude, I
walking.
don't think they closed.
So yeah, and then they made roll kebab or right across. So that area is where I grew up around, and I've just always seen it grow and get better. You know.
Yeah. Goob, what do you think, man? Where do you think the state of Hamtramck is at right now, man?
I feel like Hamtramck has kind of calmed down big time since we've been there. I feel like people are getting accustomed to what it is. But one thing I believe is happening is a lot of kids are starting to stay in the house because of their cell phones or their video games. So, back then you used to have your gang fights. You used to, be out on the streets. Now we don't have that problem anymore because of the new problem. We got the games, which honestly I don't like it because as a coach of the baseball team, it's hard to recruit kids to play because they're focused on video games or their phone or whatever type of isolated life that they're living now. So even though Hamtramck's calmed down, it's kind of not in a good way. So I feel like if kids were more active in the community, which would be on our part to get them active, I feel like it would definitely increase the activity in Hamtramck. So I feel like it's at a downfall right now, but we could definitely pick it back up.
Yeah, you don't see anybody walking around like that anymore.
You really don't.
Like I say, back then, you saw Hamtramck was packed. Joseph
Was.
Combo, packed. You know, the parks, you know, even looking at the recreation and their program, you know, you couldn't get kids not to go. You know, now, you know, they looking for attendance. They're looking for kids to go ahead and get in after school programs. The kids, they don't want to be active now. Like you said, it's a switch with them with as far as their devices, and this is keeping them entertained rather than them having some form of physical interaction or whatnot. Like they be like, I'm straight.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm tired.
Yeah.
As a kid, we used to be in the parks daily playing football. It was always picking football. I would give a call to either Zindani or Mo Ghazali, and literally we would have any park,
Packed.
30, 40 kids deep playing football, pick them up, drop them football. You know, we don't see that anymore in the parks. The parks are almost abandoned as well. So I definitely don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
That's like what we grew up on. Was
Yeah.
I mean,
sports.
I see them playing soccer, and then
Hamtramck's
what's that,
been
cricket?
great in soccer. I mean,
Cricket?
we've killed every.
the Bengalis. I see them
Yeah,
playing
Bengali
cricket a lot,
community.
so-
They
I
have
wanted to go over there in Jamesfield, man.
Jamesfield.
One day,
Yeah.
man. Y'all got to pick up cricket games.
I heard
They
those
are
games
good.
go for
They,
like
they
2
are
days.
definitely really, really good.
Huh.
You know?
I heard the game lasts like 2 days or something.
Yep. I mean, they have two different formats. One can go on for days, and one where they will make sure it ends the same day. So it depends on which format they play. But one thing I was gonna say is, when we're talking about sports, you guys feel like sports kind of kept us away from trouble?
Yeah.
100%.
You know,
Big time.
one of the examples I have, you remember Coach Nezic, and I remember right after school, you know, we'd have to wait for the bus at 4. So that whole time, who's going to go home and come back? And back then, you know, freshman year, sophomore year, we used to walk home, come back. So most of the time, us guys, we used to stay in there, and most of my buddies would just goof off with me and just stay in the school or outside, whatever. And I remember one of them was just pulling on my gym bag, and Nezic saw it. And he went up to my friend that was pulling on my bag, and he was like, "It's because of you kids doing this and messing with my players and this and that. If I ever see you messing with them again," and none of them ever showed up around Nezic again. If Nezic was coming, one would go the other way, and I would laugh. I'm like, "Y'all scared of Coach Nezic like that?" And
That was
but-
legend, though.
but one thing about just sports in general, I remember just any game day or if it was a home game, either way, we'd have to be at a setting or a place within a certain time frame, and literally would take up the entire night. Because if it was a away game, we'd drive with the JV and the varsity. We'd play first, watch the other 2 games. Then by the time we pack up, go home, it's like 9:30, 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And I used to go home exhausted. I mean, who wants to go party
Have
after that
energy
or
or
do this and that?
Yeah, have star issues and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that
So
was one thing. I mean, it kept you out of the nonsense. You know, right after school, everybody it's a group. You know, it kept you away from the group because right after school you got basketball practice, or you had to walk to Keyworth for football practice. Like you said, you go ahead and you have a game, and you like, man, I'm not about to chill with nobody, man.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, it kept you focused. I mean, even setting us aside from the other students in school of having to put on a shirt and tie game day, you know, that was different, you know. So, I mean, like, we stood out as well, but it kept us away from all the riffraff as well.
we didn't want to lose that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it felt good.
yeah.
We were being recognized, you know, and we were surrounded by some of the best guys, like, say, for a basketball team. I know that there's a lot of ballers in our team, and I feel like to be called one of them, you know, I have to make sure that I'm not falling off. I'm not doing any less. And, you know, just because of that, you kind of want to push yourself to stay in that. And, you know, any type of, you know, team that you play for, whatnot, they kind of maintain you. They make sure that you're away from this, away from that.
Yeah.
The GPAs have to be this high. You can't be caught doing this. And there's a lot of things kind of,
See-
there was boundaries set for us.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, they think, oh, sports is just the sport, you know. But what also people don't fail to realize that it teaches you, you know, discipline, punctuality. You got to be on time, or coach is gonna make you run. Ain't nobody want to run.
I would have been running today.
You would have been running today. Teamwork. Working together as a team to try to get that. And those things all lead up. They teach us things we need in life.
That I will say, I feel like I don't see enough of it in this new generation, or these younger cats growing up.
No discipline.
Yeah, and one of the most common things I hear from other colleagues, other friends of mine, is like, man, these younger cats are so disrespectful. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to, and there's a lot of guys that I come up with. They just see me because I'm just that much older, and they'll treat me with so much respect and this and that. And then I see another group of guys, just swagged out. They don't have to say nothing to anybody, and they're.
My issue is that our fault, man? Seriously, is that our fault? Like, is that this generation's fault? I mean, I know you guys are a little bit older than us, but we're kind of pretty much somewhat close in age when you look big picture. Like, is that the product of how we, kind of grew up, and never really, since like we're finally getting settled in, or I mean, y'all been settled in Iraq and BG for a few years now, so it's like not doing anything, not changing anything, like we just kind of like lived our lives.
Yeah.
And it kind of expected things to just naturally happen when, like BG was saying, like we sit there and we complain about stuff, but what are we doing about it? Like we're not doing anything about it. We're not doing anything about it.
You're right on that. Our voices aren't louder. We haven't raised our
actions are not loud enough too, because our actions are saying like, yo, we're gonna just handle our own business.
I mean, they won't let us beat these kids no more. So
that's part of the problem. Gubin, what you gotta say, man?
I mean, it's kind of tough, because if a kid doesn't care, it's kind of hard to motivate them or get them going if they just don't care. Right. But at the same time, we have to continue to keep trying because we might be all that these kids have. Obviously being a coach, I have some experience with it. Players who just don't have anything to lose, they don't have anything to look forward to. Those are the kids that you have to continually, beat on to, get to practice, to, have some type of passion because they don't really have it in the home life. So, as adults now, it definitely is our job to be a good role model and a mentor to the kids and at least give them, some type of life that, not life, but light that, life isn't as hard as it is as hard as it is at home. But, that we can still motivate them to, do what they need to do, either in school or on the field or in life in general. So we definitely do have a responsibility to these kids, of Hamtramck, and not even just Hamtramck, but in general.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's one of the hardest things I think it is for these kids to be motivated. When me personally, when I play sports or things that I go ahead and that I do in life, like I really like to put my heart into it. If I don't feel it in my heart, it's like, what am I doing it for? A lot of these kids don't have passion for it or have that drive just to do.
Where does that come from, though?
I think it's the phones, it's technology, man. I think it's technology.
Is it social media, like they're just
like zombies, man.
These kids they want like an escape, and they can get it within their phone or on a video game or a Fortnite or whatever, and it's kind of killing the drive that kids used to have to be out and about.
No, I agree, bro. Like it's definitely different. I mean, like if you have siblings, you kind of can see it from like from the beginning to like the youngest, from the oldest to the youngest. Like
siblings, we got kids, bro.
Yeah, like, siblings or kids. Yeah, now I got Marshall PG got Eric got a college student. Yeah. Yeah, so like you probably could see it from like the the oldest kid probably to the youngest kid. Even that's kind of different, and also obviously from you to them. Comparing that, it's like it's probably different. It's it's kind of like one of those things where it's like these kids grew up on the technology age, so like we can't really judge them yet because we haven't got enough like research on how they're gonna be as adults because they're still growing. But it's kind of scary, man. It's scary because they're going through life, next thing you know, middle school, next thing you know, high school, next thing you know, they're in college, Now it's like, hopefully, obviously, households matter, obviously, how they get raised up as matters, but you sometimes sit there and worry, like, because we haven't gotten that research of these kids who grew up on the iPads and iPhones. Like, what are they gonna be 10 years from now?
They don't have any street smarts, man, and I think that's more important sometimes in life than book smart. You know,
But can you blame them because the life we live? I think it was just before. I mean, just when technology era beginning, right? So we kind of grew up
We
just
seen a
like
little
the
bit of both,
90s
yeah.
and 80s and 70s babies, and then mid through, the laptops are getting smaller, phones are getting smaller. We're getting all these new gadgets, and we have a mix and nice blend of mental living and everything with everything going on. And then you have this new generation with strictly, tablets. Everything's online. Courses are online. One of the things, I took my parents to the hospital and everything's checked in through my chart. They'll say, oh, you could do this through prescriptions through this and through that. So it's like, do we really have enough knowledge of what they're getting their hands on? And I know like most of us are tech savvy, right? But what about, this new generation that completely doesn't even know what our childhood was like, or for us, vice versa,
That's even their interaction with people. Their interaction with people is totally different.
no
It's like
people skills.
yeah, like to hold a conversation and
Kind of cringy.
It's
Yeah.
like they feel more comfortable texting.
And that,
Yeah.
I
Like
blame
everybody,
COVID.
it's just like it's they talk in group chats.
man,
I blame
And they could be
COVID as
sit-
well. Because if you think about it, COVID, 3 years lockdown, kind of just forcing all these brains to be cooped in something and just now, that's how gamers become expert gamers and, people taking all these classes and stuff. They don't have to step out, ebooks, like all those things just started taking over podcasts. Everybody's forget that. I'm going to listen to some audiobooks or podcasts.
Hopefully
or
they're listening to
other
this.
things. So,
I was with you till you said podcast. No, but for real, no, he's right though. Like, what were you about to say, BG? Though I know you about to get at with something. What were you about to say?
Threw me off.
Yeah, so
My bad.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it's definitely something to think about. It's definitely something to note. But I guess in general though, I think it's funny to me because like as much as we complain, like let's be real right now, man. Like A-Rock or BG, I mean, because you guys got kids that are teenagers now. It's like if they went home and they told you they want something, y'all know y'all about to probably try to go ahead and get it for them, and like we're part of the problem, bro.
I definitely agree. I mean, when you grow up a certain kind of way and you say, I don't want that for my kids.
Yeah, like
You know.
are we actually hurting them by doing that kind of
Yeah.
stuff?
I mean, I'm definitely a part of the problem. But
I
don't.
am too. Like our kids got iPads. You know what I'm saying? Like she's 4 years old, she got an iPad, but it's like because of the situation.
I try to be conscious about it. I'm
No,
not
for
gonna lie.
sure.
Like,
I think it's important to be conscious about that.
It is like with my oldest, he gets whatever he wants, but I make him work for it, just a little bit at least, so he understands like you got to put a little work for things you want. Same thing with my daughter. The two youngest ones, they don't listen, man. I don't.
Hey, I think it's always the two youngest, man.
So
For sure.
that's still to be determined.
All right, shout out to Sal, Hamtramck board president. Sal, by the way, Sal's friend of the podcast said, bro, my dad learned tech and gets the newest iPhone every year, and my son is 4 years old, learned how to use the tech at 2, but I have taken all his iPads and tech now that he is in school. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I try to keep like a time limit for my daughter with all the the iPad and stuff. But it's like, they're already on it. They're already on it, man.
Yeah, the time limit is important. Like
Yeah.
my 7-year-old son,
He's 7 now, mashallah.
Yeah.
Wow.
and his mom makes him like it's 15 minutes. So before he even picks up the iPad, he's like, "Did you set the timer? Did you set the timer?"
Yeah.
Because he knows he only has a certain amount of time.
Time limit.
So, I think that's important. Just give them 15, 20 minutes a day or a couple times a day, and then let them go outside. Whether it's jump on a trampoline, go outside, play in the streets. I've forced them to go outside. So even though they don't like it, but I think it helps. Sam he's a gym rat.
I think that's one of the best things, forcing them outside.
Force them outside.
My grandma granny used to say to me, come in this door one more time, you gonna stay in. It's like, I ain't got no video games. It wasn't no video games.
I never played video games. I see people. I got friends that play it today, and I've never been a gamer, so I don't.
And I be getting whooped by my kids if I play them in the video game.
You'd be like, hey, let's take this outside.
Man.
Let's go on the basketball court outside.
Yeah, I'm physical. Come on, let's go.
For sure. Hey, Yusuf, we want to get this. So, like I said, man, we got Ukraine, you got Bangladesh, you got African American, you got Yemeni American in the building. But we got to give a shout out to our European, Bosnian, Balkan House people in Hamtramck. Shout out to Balkan House. We even showing the different ethnicities, even with our sponsors. Shout out to Juma, shout out to Hassan and everybody over there at the Balkan House restaurant. Yusuf, you want to go ahead and run that Balkan House ad? The Balkan House restaurant. The Balkan House restaurant is famous for their doner kebab sandwich. But did you know that the Balkan House now serves breakfast? Did you also know that all their food is 100% halal? The Balkan House now also have 2 food trucks, so you can book your next party or event with the Balkan House on wheels. Their Hamtramck location is 3028 Kniff Street, Hamtramck, Michigan. Their Ferndale location is 314 West 9 Mile Road, Ferndale, Michigan. Again, you can book their food trucks for your next party or event. So if you're looking for a nice place to eat, with friendly service and great prices, look no further than the Balkan House restaurants.
For sure.
No, for sure. All right. Well, keeping on with the Hamtramck Brotherhood thing, we are here to talk about kind of how it was growing up in the city of Hamtramck and like where we're at now. So my next question is: does someone like from another race play a big part in your life? Like someone that kind of changed your perspective, and or maybe you already had the perspective, but they kind of like solidified it. And I'm gonna start off with you, Goob, because I know Goob, and I know Goob has a great story, an amazing story. So I kind of want to hear this and see what Goob has to say, man.
Man, you want to get me choked up on camera, huh?
I'm sorry, man. Hey, Yusuf, is there a reason why it's frozen right now? It looks like it's frozen right now on whatever. But go ahead, Goob. Look, we move in slow motion on that.
So, sorry. So I had a friend that I grew up with from my elementary, middle school, high school days. His name was Anthony Accra, and he's actually the person that came up with the Life brand, and he came up with it in high school. And the reason why I do it now is because he passed away a few years ago, and I just thought it was a good thing to bring the brand back to life, in his honor, but also to help people who are also dealing with life troubles, and that's what the brand was about. But back in my high school years, my dad worked pretty hard, and he made a good amount of money, but my dad had a big family, which was, a blessing, but also, the money was spread a little thin. And I remember I had a pair of shoes that I would wear to school, and then I'd practice in them. And one day, some of the guys were, just cracking jokes, and obviously, it kind of hurts the heart a little bit when they crack jokes about a serious problem. But, Anthony seen it from the background, and he pulled me to the side after practice the next day, and he was like, hey, man, pulled a pair of shoes out of his book bag, and he gave them to me. They were Adidas, high-top Adidas. He's like, hey, man, go ahead and rock these on the basketball court. They were my dad's, and I took them. But don't tell him I said that, because I had some pretty big feet. So, Anthony pulled out a pair of shoes for me, and, that meant the world to me. And, him and I were close friends, but that, made us family, So the reason why I promote the brand the way I do is because Anthony was there for me in that time, in a rough time in my life. So the brand, I try to give back the same way he gave to me. And that's just, a big time story that, I have with another. Anthony is African American, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. He definitely stepped up big time for me as a friend and as a brother. And I remember days where he would just invite himself into my house, go give my mom a hug. I'd be sleeping, he'll jump on me on the bed, just playing around. So, the fact that we deal with the racism that we do kind of is disheartening, because, I had a friend who was black, and you think, they have their issues, we have our issues, and it's not even like that, and I wish more people would realize that if you, hang around the other group, you would realize that they really treat you like family, if you get to know them. And Anthony was family to me. So, Anthony, I'd have to say is the big time guy for me there.
First of all, give a round of applause to my man Gubin.
Yeah.
May my man Anthony rest in peace. May Anthony rest in peace. I hope it's better now. I'm looking at the camera, by the way. Someone said it was lagging for a little bit, but it's good now. I can see it right here. Definitely a touching story, man. Anthony was a great guy, and I'm just gonna quickly say, for me, you know, like we mentioned sports earlier, and it was definitely, and you guys might laugh. I mean, you might know him, Meech. Remember Demetrius Parker? Played football. You know, for me, it was so obviously growing up. You know, I'm glad like my brothers, they kind of like, you know, showed me how I should be carrying myself, and I kind of followed their lead. So, you know, growing up, always kept a good relationship with anybody and everybody. My uncle gave me some simple advice, but it went a long way. He said, you ain't got to be friends with everybody. Just, you know, keep a good relationship with them. And, you know, it's called building connection. That's how you build relationships. And, you know, it was kind of like a very simple thing. I just carried it with me. But the reason why I mentioned Meech is because you would think like we were two different people. You know, Meech was silly. He was silly. You know, he was one of those dudes, like, till this day, you know, we're friends on Facebook. He'll message me some, you know, random stuff. And, like, you know, he'll just say some silly things, you know. And obviously, me, I try to, like, not do that. But, you know, when you get to know me behind closed doors, I like to be that way, too. But, you know, I was quarterback. He was running back. And, like he would be the type of person that would be cussing me out as I'm about to call hike. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because, like, you know, I remember one time I threw a pass and almost set him up. And, like, he literally didn't even catch. Like, he hit the ball down and started cussing me out immediately as I threw that ball. Like, and, like, he was still cussing me out. Yeah, trying to give me a pop. And I'm about to call hike, and he's cussing me out. I'm telling him, like, man, shut up. Like, I'm trying to talk to him. But, like, I still give him rides home. You know, like, he used to live on 7 Mile. To give him rides home in 7 Mile, and that's when we had, like, those conversations, those brother conversations, and, you know, having serious conversations. Or it might be just joking around, you know, most of the time. But it was just that relationship that, like, you know, that sports, number one, obviously helps out so much. But, like, I remember there was a big game that we had, and he was going to have a baby, and it was that day. It was a senior year in high school, and I'm not going to lie to you, like, all jokes were to the side, and, like, it was like a moment where, like, my best friend was about to have a baby. You know what I'm saying? And, like, he was... It was a shocking moment to him, and, like, to see him react the way that he was, like, you know, it was a reality moment. It was like a reality check in life, and just, like, kind of growing from there, and you know, all the ups and downs, man, and you know, I just that specific relationship sticks out to me because, you know, it was, for some outsiders' perspective, they'd be like, how in the world, like, are they close? You know, like, complete kind of opposites in terms of personalities, at least in the outsider perspective. But, like, you know, it was that brotherhood. It was that brotherhood, and sports kind of got you there. And it was one of those things where it's like you really don't even have to explain. It's just one of those things that just naturally happen when you keep an open mind. And that's what happens. When you keep an open mind, you look past everything, and you kind of just focus on what brings you together, which is, you know, whether it's sport or, you know, just having that relationship with that person, man. So it kind of was my story. BG, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it going this way. I don't know if you have a specific situation. I mean, I know you mentioned Aaron. But
to me, I mean, going back, it's been a long time, so you can't think of specific situations. But I think during our time period, it's not maybe one person, but the one maybe ethnicity or ethnic group that kind of had an effect on me was when the Bosnians came in. You know, they came in, we were kind of like in middle school, and a lot of them were refugees. So then, you know, I got to know, you know, a bunch of them, and Erman. Erman's a good friend of mine, and, you know, we got close. And then, you know, they tell you the stories, and then you hear about war and what they went through, and, you know, going to Europe, and then from Europe finally coming to the U.S., you know. It kind of, you know, that was the kind of like the first time as a kid, you know, middle school or early high school, you start, you know, realize, like, yo, this world is kind of tough, you know, and we're kind of blessed, you know, being in the U.S. or being somewhere where, you know, there's no wars and there's, you know, no conflict, and, you know, everything's minimal. So, you know, when the Bosnians came through, that was something that kind of affected me. And then, you know, you get to know them, you become friends, and they're just like us, you know. So,
how about you, Aaron? It don't gotta be one specific person.
Long time ago.
You see what I'm saying? We graduated in 2000.
Yeah.
No, for the most part, I say doers, man. I want to say probably like Coach Mullen and Mr. Catula. They were doers, that didn't mind if we had a fumble drill in the rain. He doing the fumble drill with us, man, in the rain, getting in the mud. You know what I'm saying? Showing that hard work, showing us what it is that we need to be doing. Even Mr. Catula, like everybody hated him. They hated Mr. Catula, but he knew his basketball.
He's still hooping.
He's still hooping. He'll go ahead and say, yo, like, probably like use coming to half court, you use 3 dribbles. Or just working on your whatever it is that you weren't good at. You working on that. You know what I'm saying? You already perfected this. But you don't have a left hand. You can't go ahead and jab step or and go up. Just different moves, but somebody that's gonna show you what it is to do instead of just going ahead and telling you. And they don't know how to do it. So shout out to the doers that's gonna go ahead and get in there and put their hand in and show you and help you. Even though you at that moment you don't understand what it is that they're trying to do. As far as teaching you, like I say, they hated Mr. Catula, but he knew his stuff.
For sure.
Mr. Mullen was that guy. I love Mr. Mullen to death.
Yeah.
He's such a good guy, man.
He is.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He's still.
Definitely
I just
encouraging,
seen him
yeah.
recently, bro. He's still the same.
Yeah.
Same Coach Mullen.
Just I'm talking about he's so energetic.
Yeah.
That's what I speak of, like as far as like doing stuff with your heart. When he doing something, he demonstrating it. Like you gonna get a good thud if you in football practice. You get up, get him in here like this. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get in your pads and you gonna be like, man, you ain't got no pads, you hidden, but he shows that emotion and what it is that he loves.
You know what's sad, man? Is I was mature enough to notice and see that, but like to see that spark. I mean, he's still that guy, but towards my senior year, like that's what ended up happening. Like he didn't coach my senior year, so like my freshman through junior year, to see that spark kind of die, man. Because I witnessed my brothers play for Coach Mullen. And like I said, I played for him freshman, sophomore, junior year. And then that's when he decided, to step away my senior year. And it was sad because, like, the reason why was because players didn't respond well to that anymore, man.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. It was tough.
Yeah, players did not respond well to that anymore. Like I remember, like being like in huddles, they'd be like, "Man, this crazy, like this crazy dude, man. Like he better not be touching me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, don't, no, you can't touch him. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was sad because I know what Coach Mullen was trying to do, but he couldn't do it anymore because the kids just,
It's that era, man, to where a lot of these kids you can't talk to them.
Yeah.
You can't go ahead and get up in their face. Like, you go ahead and get in these kids' face now, and they gonna want to get a gun instead of thinking like, why is he in my face? He cares about me to go ahead and really go ahead and check me on my crap. They don't look at it like that anymore. Coach Mullen do that back in the day, and he had me hyped. I was pumped. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what you would want, and at least that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's not going to get the same response, like, because it's so different, man. So different.
It's crazy because like we're all, human, but it's completely different, bro. Completely different.
I mean, it's true because I see it now with the basketball team. I've been all summer. I've been around them, and these younger ones. I'm not talking about the varsity or whatever. The younger ones, it's like, the coach is mostly like, yo, I can't even talk to you. They're not coachable. It's like, he tries and he try to get to them, and they're just like, blah blah blah.
That's because they watching all this damn YouTube, and you supposed to. But you're playing an organized sport. You know what I'm saying? You not working on that move like this dude is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't put in that same work ethic and just, I'm better than such and such, so I should be on the court. Like, no, you're not. You don't work hard.
Yeah.
It's crazy because they want to do this, they see this, but they don't see the background work that goes
That's
into it.
what I'm saying, yeah.
And those kids, they get that constructive criticism and they take it. That's why they're seen on YouTube, because they put the work in and they take the constructive criticism. These kids don't take that criticism anymore.
Yeah.
it's hard to coach. It is really hard to coach these days.
That's what I'm saying about Mr. Cthulhu. Like, he gonna give you that constructive criticism to where, listen, you messing up. You need to do this. And it's like, all right, coach. It's not all right, coach, anymore. It's like, dang, why you always messing with me?
Yeah.
It's like, if you one of the better players, on the floor, you gonna get criticized the most because you should be above. You should be wanting to get better, But these kids, a lot of these kids, you can be a scrub on the team, man, and be like, like, yo, I'm trying to get you better, man,
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Hey, shout out to Coach DJ. He's doing a great job over
He
there.
is, man. He is doing a great job, bro. Sadiq, maybe we're going back to someone or maybe a moment or anything like that may have like shaped you and like or changed you, your viewpoint.
I don't know if you guys remember Mr. Lamorato. Now, they were two brothers. One taught high school and one taught middle school, but
That's what I was
he
about to
ended
say.
up in
Which Lamorato?
Which
the
Lamorato?
older brother, the older Mr. Lamorato.
Middle school?
Middle school, yep.
Okay.
So going back,
He was there when you guys were there?
Yep.
Yeah, he was. I think
you-
that was his last year.
Yeah, like
Talking
last
about, hey,
year.
boy.
Yeah.
I think it was eighth grade or seventh grade, but I was in the track team, not track, the cross country team. And, it was random. I was like, I'm fast. I'm a runner. Let me try it out. And we went to Keyword just to get everybody riled up and stuff. And one of the guys I think Omar might remember is Ramzi Ayash. He had a beard since middle school probably. But this guy, he was in the wrestling team. Very, very, he's really good at what he does, but he hides everything so well. You can't tell he can wrestle. You can't tell he can run.
Yeah.
And he had great stamina. So we're just, jogging, trying to get our stamina up. Mr. Lamorato would have these meets just to get us prepared for the, main ones. And on one of those and I'm very competitive, and I'm jogging, I'm out beating everybody and everything. For some reason, Ramzi Ayash, I think it was Ayash or Ramzi, but
Yeah, it is.
he's always there. It's annoying when I'm doing my best and this guy's still there and he's showing nothing in his face, nothing, and he's not huffing and puffing like me, and he's keeping a nice pace. And he gave me the best advice. He was like, hey, just relax. You don't have to outdo it. It's a race, but it's also a mental thing. Do this. Don't waste all your energy at the end. Waste it at the last 0.3, 0.4, miles or left and this and that. And I'm going at it with him. And this is just practice. Just, if we did like 5 laps around the thing, it would be 2 miles or something. And I'm racing I'm not with anybody else, just Ramzi. And by the time I get there, Ramsey beats me by like 2 seconds, because it's 2 seconds is nice, 4 or 5 feet gap maybe and whatnot. And when we get there, I'm huffing and puffing. We go up to Mr. Lamorato. I'm like, oh, Mr. Lamorato, I was so close. How come Ramsey keeps, what is going on, this and that? And Mr. Lamorato goes, look, and he looks at me and he goes like,
Hold on. If you gonna say what Mr. Lamorato said, man, you got to do the voice.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Sadiq, you got a lot of pride in you. But before I ruined this whole thing, he told me, he was like, man, you got a lot of pride. You got a lot of pride in you, and I didn't know what that meant at that time, because I'm like, oh, pride. He's saying I have a lot of this. Oh, it's great. Oh, thanks, coach, this and that. And, I'm telling this, Mr. Lamorato said, I got a lot more pride than them, this and that. And what he was trying to tell me is that pride isn't always a good thing. Sometimes too much pride covers up all the jewels. Too much pride might make you end up last. Too much pride might, end up with a, one hand gone. And because of your pride, you don't want to let go of this flag or this and that. And because of this guy, he kind of broke it down to me later, after like a meet or two. He was like, "Did I tell you got a lot of pride?" And that time I lost. And he was like, "If you didn't have too much pride, then maybe you could have, ran another 30 seconds more or this and that." And it's just the way he explained it. I know I'm doing a bad job translating it from when he told me, but it really opened a few things up for me. And I really think about that moment, and I understand that, okay, when somebody gives you advice, don't rush it. Understand what they're saying, take it in. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, but it's always a lesson. And that's a lesson I think I'll never forget.
For sure, man. Yusuf, if you want to give that round of applause, by the way, I just want to give that round of applause. Man.
Mr. Lamorato was a manly man, if y'all don't know.
He was a preacher.
He was a manly man. Mr. Lamorato was hardcore, man.
He was.
Just a quick story with Mr. Lamorato. He had boxing, 4th hour gym, in middle school, and it was this Albanian kid Vinko, and Vinko was tough, man, and he was talking so much junk to Mr. Lamorato. Mr. Lamorato said, "Well, okay, well, boy, you put them gloves on." You know what I'm saying? Man, when I tell you Vinko came to lunch so pink. And Vinko had this long hair, his hair all over everywhere, man. We watched Mr. Lamorato. I'm talking about Mr. Lamorato. Just, come on, boy. I said, yeah, Mr. Lamorato was tough, man.
He ain't play around.
He ain't play no games.
And Mr. Corey was tough.
Yeah. Man, I seen that old man. He was probably like 60, 62. And we get up in the weight room. Mr. Lamorato, Mr. Corey, he's still putting up 225.
60-some years old.
Still putting up to Mr. Corey was tough.
Yeah, if you had 60,
You know-
62 years old putting up 225.
220, easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
He was tough.
The thing, well, we failed to realize a lot of those guys were athletes. If you go look in the community center, you'll see all their names up there, their pictures. Back when they were in high school, they were most of them played baseball, and they won the Little League World Series.
Yeah, for sure.
Lamorato, Nalupa, Corey, they were all on that team. So and they went on to play college ball too.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one is, I guess we kind of talked about it a little bit, but so like how has Hamtramck molded you into who you are today? How does that, how did it make you into who you are today? Sadiq, I don't think we've started with you yet with the question. So how has Hamtramck kind of made you into the person that you are today, man?
Well, I feel like it's interactions. How many people you encounter, and when there's a population like that in Hamtramck, you're gonna come across more encounters. Every encounter was different. It was never the same. I got a little bit of everybody. There's a way you can speak with the elderly. There's a way you have to speak with the younger crew. There's people that can't speak English. So what do we do? If you're a good guy or whatnot, you'll try to use sign language. You'll try to find somebody that knows them, and you'll translate in between. But I feel like Hamtramck had a lot of encounters for me to come across and learn, whether it was through sports, school, after school, summer programs, like you name it, man. I was there. I at least wanted to, check it out and be there at least once, and then know that, okay, that's what goes on over there. That's what happens here. I don't know if you know, Omar, but I tried out for the freshman football team. I made the cut. Why? Because we didn't have enough dedicated players. So, at that time, they were bumping up freshmen to JV and this and that. That scared me, and it really did.
First time, yeah.
I like today, like I'm laughing at myself because, I know what I'm capable of, and I didn't give it my all because I was in my shell. I was in a cocoon, I never really, and the love for these sports so late. Like I didn't get into basketball till freshman year. I think I remember 8th grade. I wanted to be in the basketball team, and I had a whole different form, this and that, and I had to change so much. Where I feel like, dang, if I started even earlier or this or that. So, but hey, still, after all of that, all the encounters I've had, I feel like it just mashed me and molded me and
Into who you are
to
today.
who I am right now, man.
Yeah.
It's these encounters, good and bad.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, A-Rock, man?
Touching on what he said, just as far as being able to interact with everybody. Like you said, you speaking to someone that has broken English or whatnot, it's like it teaches you patience. Even not knowing where, like you said, our friend Ermine, we're all from different backgrounds, but not knowing exactly what he's been through, what molded him, and having conversations with people like to get to know him. In my field, as far as me being a barber, it's is a lot of conversations. There's a lot of jokes. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to have those conversations because my clientele is very diverse. So, you know, it's not just one conversation that we're going to have. You know, it's sports, religion, you know, love, all, you know. But being able to have those different conversations with people, it helped me out.
How about you, BG?
I think the most important thing is, you know, living in a, like a, it's kind of, you know, Hamtramck is urban. You know, you learn street smarts. You learn how to, you know,
That's what I was going to get at.
street, you know, things that you won't learn, I think, in the suburbs where, you know, you're kind of secluded from everything and, you know, seeing the fighting, you know, you got to learn how to get around that. Seeing, you know, the poverty, seeing all kinds of different things, you know, it teaches you, like, you know, there's different people from different aspects of life, and you know you're not just in that one, you know, little bubble. I think as we've grown older, kind of like I feel I can go anywhere in the world and I can survive, you know, because I lived in a city where there was people from all over the world.
I love that. Gubin, what you got to say?
So growing up in Hamtramck definitely taught me how to be multicultural, and it's a good thing because I know how to season my chicken. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, when I'm around a certain group of people, like I can flip a switch and, you know, my whole personality will change. And some people might think that's weird, but, you know, it's kind of, you know, how I grew up, you know, around many people's cultures. You know, I know how to greet Arabic people. I know how to greet Muslim people and African-American people, you know what I'm saying? And I can relate to them because I grew up around them. So I feel like Hamtramck, you know, played a good role in that in my life, you know, diversifying, like, who I am. So I feel like that was definitely a big-time blessing.
And I was going to say the same thing, man. Both of you guys pretty much got it. Being more multicultural, man, understanding the different backgrounds, man. Like, I'm telling you guys, man, like, I think till this day, we still don't know the impact that it has had in our lives, the interactions, you know, just being able to get to know people. Man, it can go a long way. I know BG was saying, like, you know, knowing somebody's last name. Like, one of the people that I got close with in college, you know, I was at State. It started off with, you know, he introduced himself, and then I knew that his last name was Polish. You're Polish, yeah. Oh, from Hamtramck. Oh, you know, my dad used to work there. Bada boom, bada bang. You know, next thing you know, it was my freshman year. We got real close. You know, like simple conversations like that, man. Like it goes a long way, man. And I'm be honest with you, growing up in Hamtramck is what it helped out a lot. And you know, building that connection with maybe a future employer, man. Like. You'll be in an interview. And again, maybe their name or starting that conversation. You know, A-Rod, like, you know, they introduce themselves, like, oh, you know, you're Italian or whatever it may be. Oh, yeah, how did you know? Bang. You know, like, it could be something very simple to supporting your business. You know, A-Rod, look at you. Like, I know you get different people from different backgrounds that get their haircuts from you. You know, BG got the hardware store. Like, seeing those customers come in, you know, some of the times, I can speak for myself, you know, like just the people that support me. You know, you got a Bosnian, you got a Yemeni, you know, you got a straight up American, and Hanley. You know, I don't know what you want to call it, like whoever that background might be. So it's like you never know that where it can come from, and it's all about how you carry yourself. And to me, like to have that open mind, you don't limit yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't limit yourself. You know, with the life, you know, you get all different kinds of people buying that gear,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Just to jump on that, it's like you also learn how to respect people.
that's
You know,
too, man.
Like that's the one thing. You know, I'm not gonna disrespect someone because you know what, you know, I got friends that are, you know, just like that person, and I understand them, and I value those relationships. So I think that's one thing that, you know, that helps us a lot, and that helps build relationships, you know?
I got a quick question. So out of all of us, like, is everybody born here?
Yeah.
Oh, you were born here?
Yeah, I was born here.
BG? No? You were born here, right? Well, one of the things I felt like when we were in school, right, you know, minorities ran Hamtramck, whether it was the African-American community, Bengali, Yemeni. I mean, in the world, or in this country, we're minorities, right? Even maybe in the state, I got to double check on the facts, but one thing I realized that growing up with school, most of the guys weren't born in the U.S. Most of the Bengalis, 70% were not born in the U.S. They came when they're very little, like me. I came like 4.5, 5 years. Most of my Yemeni friends, a lot of them they came here when they were like kids and whatnot. So even if it's like 3-4 years of living in another country, even if it's small, I felt like it captured some part of my brain, and it made me realize that there's another world like this where they're living like that, and I constantly remembering that, and just realizing what I have here, and you realize the value and the real value. I feel like I got that a lot. I can't say the same thing for my younger brother who's 12 years younger than me, who was born here. His lifestyle and everything. I sound like my parents.
Yeah.
And, when they used to talk to me, that's how I sound like when I'm talking to my younger brother. And it's crazy. So I felt like just that itself. If most of the Bosnian guys were coming here, and Albanian, and we had a nice little Chinese community as well when we were getting done with high school.
Did
But
we?
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember any.
okay, so that later on, like in me and old
Yeah.
era. But so I felt like most of us guys that grew up together, most of us, 70% of us, were not born here.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess that definitely comes into play, because that's what I was gonna say too. Is like you understand people's cultures. Biju was talking about how like you understand one another. Like, that with this culture you probably shouldn't do this, or with this culture you probably shouldn't do that, and it taught you at a young age. And now, till this day, you got adults that don't know how to act towards around people because, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And we learned it at a young age. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, Hamtramck equipped us for life, bro. Like, and people underestimate it. I know it's people try to, like, it's a 2-point-something mile radius city. But, like, all those things is what made it to me great. Like, everything that people say about it, to me, like, when you find that silver lining in it, you realize that all those things, say the poverty, say the schools, whatever, are not up to par with what the standards are, or, you have these fights or these issues. To me, man, I think that's what makes it great, because it prepares you for the real world, because you're lying to tell me that this stuff is not happening out there in the real world. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be honest. I could have moved out a long time ago. And the reason I stay is because I want my kids to have that. I want them to grow up in that environment. Like you said, people say, oh, the schools suck or whatever. I mean, I know doctors, and pharmacists, and engineers.
It's whatever you make.
That came through Hamtramck, went to some of the best schools in America, and did what they had to do. It's what you instill in your son or daughter, and you teach them the good work ethic, and because we all know once you get to college, it's all about work ethic. It's not how smart you are. It's putting in the work and grinding and getting it done.
And that's just in general, right? With everything.
That's everything. So, but I want my kids to grow up where I grew up, because I feel like it's important. I don't want them to be, like sheltered in a bubble, and then when they get in the real world, they don't know how to act. So.
Because we know how the role really is, at the end of the day. And that's why I thought Hamtramck did a great job. Man. Yeah, for sure, man. A-Rock, I'm going to pass it to you, man, because I want to hear some advice, man. So we kind of mentioned the youth, right? We kind of talked about them and how they kind of carry themselves these days. But what advice would you give them, man? Like growing up in the city of Hamtramck, what would you tell them? Anything in general, I guess.
I want to say probably get involved. Whatever it is that your school, the recreation center, because a lot of these kids now, I was just telling my daughter the other day, she in gymnastics, and she like, well, I can't do a backflip. I said, you be on YouTube all day. Go on YouTube, see how to go ahead and do a backflip. These the kids now there, it's just entertainment. That's all it is. Social media is all entertainment. The things that they want to do, or they want to travel, they want to go ahead and go to these places, it's like they're not looking up what the necessary things what it is that they need to be informed in, or they want in life. Like, if you have this device in front of you, go on it for a reason. Between that and, like I say, stay active. Go somewhere, volunteer, get involved. That's probably one of the main things is for them to get involved. You know, put yourself out there. We look at they look at this social media and they think these people they just doing this to go ahead and do it. Like it was a time that these people were scared, and I'm pretty sure. But they went ahead and got involved. So I mean, one of the things I would tell them to go ahead and do is get involved.
For sure. How about you, Goop?
I would definitely say play a sport because playing a sport definitely taught me how to become, the man that I am. I played middle school, elementary, middle school, high school, and I was fortunate enough to, play at the collegiate level. And the main reason that, I am who I am is because of sports. It taught me how to grow up, be disciplined, like BG said, So, and obviously I coach baseball and we need players, so tell your kids to come play baseball.
Shout out to my man Goob. Sadiq,
sir.
what advice would you give him, man?
Two things. One is a copycat world, man. And we need enough of these people to be themselves. Everybody has a different passion, different love, and it's okay. Sometimes before we used to say we like a TV show, but we'll never talk about it because it might not be cool enough, or they might laugh. It's okay. Everybody's different. And secondly, I feel like, it's a great quote that I've been sharing with a lot of people and whatnot. And forgive me for not knowing who actually quoted this, but it goes something like, on your way up, be careful, how you behave and treat people, because on your way back down, you're going to come across those same people, and that I try to use a lot, because honestly, till this day, it's been happening to me. The same people that I went to high school with, some of them have great jobs, some of them are doing well, some of them have opportunities ready for you. But it's probably that, where you might not have been that best person in that situation or in that manner, and it's making you look like that or whatnot. But overall, treat everybody with fairness, with respect, and it goes a long way.
For sure. For sure. How about you, BG? What advice would you give to the?
Man, I'll just tell these kids, get off the phones and get to know each other. Like, have a conversation with your friends or go out, get to know, what their interests are, what they like, what's going on in their life, try to be someone that, you can help people. You never know what's going on with the person right next to you. But if you just, open a simple conversation, they might open up to you. And, you might be that person that can help them out. It's just I can't stand just seeing them, just texting and.
It's bad, man. It's funny because my daughter, my niece, my sister, all of us was out one time, and my daughter and my niece, they're around the same age, and I'm like, she go up to Eastern or whatnot, and I'm like, well, my daughter, she's at Eastern now, so I'm like, did you get her phone number? And she like, no, I ain't get her phone number. I got her Snap. I'm like, man, these kids just, they different, man.
Snap,
That's crazy.
What do we
got
call
her
them again?
Snap.
Gen Z?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they Z?
Yeah, I think so. That is so funny that you say that because that is the way they communicate now, like through Snapchat. Like they don't text. They definitely don't call.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to call, like, oh, send her a message on.
Yeah, like me, I try to give people phone calls because it gets straight to the point.
No,
Unless like a yes or no question, I give like yeah, yes or no. But like if I'm gonna sit here and like I have to send like you a paragraph, like I'm just gonna call you,
Yeah.
because your response is probably gonna be a paragraph, and I'm gonna have to respond back with a paragraph.
Yeah, I'm not going to read that.
Yeah.
I remember in like senior year when they were trying to prep us up, to graduate and everything, and how to, get ready for interviews. One of the things they were used to show us examples of what not to do on an interview is, make sure you're dressed up in a suit and tie. Make sure you're timely fashion. And then one of the thing is when you're responding to people you're gonna go meet, make sure you're not texting. Make sure you're calling and we're doing this and that. Now, text messages are fine, right?
Yeah.
Like there's multiple emails. That's working better than anything else. You don't have to like that transition itself too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Where
It's
they be
different.
like, I emailed you. But like,
I ain't checking my
checking my email, man, like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's different. I mean, my advice pretty much is pretty simple. My advice is just keep an open mind, man. I think it's very important to keep an open mind because, you are limiting yourself it could be as simple as like when you're traveling. Like everybody loves traveling, man. Everybody want to travel the world. Like you know how much better. Like you were saying, Iraq. Like they're not even you're not even looking up what to do. Like you kind of missing out on the experience, man. Like the whole point of traveling the world is to get to know the culture. Like that's why again, like Hamtramck almost gave us like a world in one
cheat
city.
code.
Yeah, it was a cheat code because we kind of got. And we still do got it. Like, you know, you go to this restaurant, you get a taste of Europe, you get a taste of, you know, Bosnia, you get a taste of Bangladesh, you know, some soul food, you get everything, Yemeni food. So it's like, to me, you know, keep an open mind because at the end of the day, you never know what opportunity is out there for you. You know, you sometimes meet your best friends, you sometimes meet your spouse, you know, whatever it may be. By being that open person that was open to having that dialogue and that conversation with somebody, and you grow as a human being, man. Like to me, after you leave college and stuff, like when people say like they are learning still, you know, obviously you're learning about the world, but to me, learning is like learning about people. Like that's the learning that people are doing, and the only way you can do that is by keeping an open mind and it just. When you learn about people, you'll start to understand why they do the things they do, and things will make sense, man. And that's why, to me, less problems will happen because, you know, what you think like might be normal might be disrespectful to one culture, and you might not even know that because of the fact that you were, you know, ignorant or uneducated on that subject matter. And so I think that it starts off by keeping an open mind, educate yourself on you know, the people that are surrounding you. And don't take Hamtramck for granted, man, because that's the kind of stuff that, you know, it taught us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that keeping an open mind and, you know, just having that conversation with people like even like some of my
we can't do it anymore no more,
Nah,
man. People can't have that conversations.
yeah, like some of my clients, like you know, you might have the Bengali dude go ahead and have a henna on his beard, or you know what I'm saying, and what they be like, man, what? Man, that's dumb, man. Like, oh, that's a part of their culture, man. Like you can't go ahead and knock it because you don't understand what it is to them. You know what I'm saying? But just having an open mind and like being able to have those conversations with different people. You know, like we're so closed off now.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't look like me, then I'm not about to speak to you.
And so I like to look at this like, cause some people are gonna look at it like, why? I don't need to. It got me where I am today. But like, look, like let's put yourself, like you're talking to an employer, and like we're all in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you think that employer is gonna pick? You know, who do you think that person is gonna hire for the job? Like, you're limiting yourself as an individual, you know, to grow, to be in a leadership role. You know, these people that are in these leadership roles, I mean, you know, for better or for worse, I mean, hopefully most times they're the open-minded people. They're the people that know how to conversate. They're the ones that know how to communicate well with others. So it's like, it's really just advice to just help you, first of all.
Absolutely.
You know? I don't know if you're about to say something, Gubin, or not, or you're just about to agree right now, because I don't know if you're about to say I don't know. I just didn't want to stop you.
No, I
Okay.
just agreeing with you a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. But, you know, fellas, man, listen.
Well, okay, since it does sound like we're about to
Yeah.
is that what this is?
Yeah.
I do want to share two passages, one from the Quran and one from the Bible. You know, I'm a religious person, so I do want to share two passages here. From the Quran, Al-Nisa 4:36, it says, "Serve God and do good to parents, kinsfolk, orphans, those in need, neighbors who are near, neighbors who are strangers, the companion by your side, and what your right hand possesses." So, you know what I'm saying? As far as life goes, I feel like that plays a part into what life is, you know, being there for one another. And then 1 John 4:11, it says, "Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another." So, you know, as we go through life, you know, show people that love and kindness that you want to be showed. And you never know what somebody's going through. That love might just save their life. So I definitely want you to keep that in mind as we close here.
Yeah. And then, you know, when you bring like religion and anybody that would be religious, they know that at the end of the day, it's all about peace and love, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day. And to me, you know, we like to complicate things. That's another whole topic. Like I always say that, like, I feel like we complicate things as people, as individuals, and that's just another example, man. So I appreciate you sharing
Absolutely.
that. Anybody with final words, man? Final comments, bro? It was a lot. It was a lot. And I feel like we kind of touched on it. Like we can even dig deep into other stuff too, man. I just kind of wanted to lay the groundwork to let people know, man, that it's possible. That the city, it might be like it might be a roller coaster right now, but I just want people to know that, man, like it's possible, and that's not just because you see people on social media. That doesn't tell the whole story, man.
Not at all.
It does not tell the whole story.
The background with of Hamtramck is great, man. The different athletes, the different stories with the different ethnicities. It's something. It's nothing that you could just go ahead and touch on in one segment or anything like that. But I love Hamtramck.
Yep. Shout out to A-Rock. Shout out to Sadiq.
People don't realize we could have probably had 10 different other cultures.
Yeah,
we're really good at it.
for sure.
And everybody can go ahead and look at it from a different point of view. You know what I'm saying? You can have somebody that grew up on the South Side have a whole total different
perspective
view.
than Ducktown or the projects.
And it's funny because it's a 2.7 2.2 I'm sorry 2.2 mile radius city, but it was kind of broken down into neighborhoods and areas, and like you said, the whole perspective comes a whole different perspective.
For real.
That's hilarious, man. But shout out to Hamtramck, man. First of all, again, this was season 2, episode 11 of the Table Talk podcast. We wanted to give you guys a little something different today. It was about brotherhood and how we kind of built our relationships with one another and grew together as a community. Shout out to my man Gubin. We had Sadiq in the building as well. We had my man Aaron Brock, and then you got my man Bassam Gobah. Appreciate you guys for coming on. What was you laughing about, A-Rock?
Cause I was telling him the way you would say his name, it'd be totally different than I'll go ahead and say his name.
How do you say his name?
It's Bassam.
Bassam. Okay.
Yeah, trust me, I've heard 7 different variations.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody here. I hope you guys enjoy. I mean, I hope you listen to this later and learn something, man. Learn something from this. I hope that you understand that together, any obstacle can be accomplished or taken on when we're all one.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys all for